Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and I want to present yet another interview session from the 80s cruise. Today we're going to have Vixen. They were interviewed by Majewski on Thursday, March 9th, 2023. So you know the deal. Please like, subscribe, you know. Let's go.
Give it to us.
Okay, so I started on the flute too, so I was trained, So we're gonna
duet.
Next album is gonna have an intense flute.
We're gonna have the harp at the end.
Can't wait. So I started playing flute and I loved it. But my favorite part about it was playing in the orchestra. I didn't like playing by myself. I loved the big sound when you got together and played with the other instruments, and like this massive sound comes out when everybody joins together. And then, my parents weren't very musical, so they didn't really introduce me to a lot of stuff, but growing up, there was a lot of, the rock was like Nirvana and grunge and stuff, and that didn't do anything, I wasn't really into it. Then, I was actually in a shopping mall with my mom, and I heard Eruption come over a speaker, and I had no idea what it was, and I had never heard anything like it, and I said, "Mom, what is this?" She said, "I have no idea," and I said, "I'm gonna go ask somebody," and they said, "Oh, that's Van Halen," and I was like, whoa, and then I was like, "Since I've been running errands with you all day long, I think you owe me a trip to the Newbury Comics," and so we went and I got a bunch of Van Halen records, and that was it. I was like, I'm trading in the flute for the guitar. This is way cooler. And my only goal was to learn how to play Eruption. That was like, that day I just said, I want to do that. And then, but that was like the gateway album band that got me into all the other like 80s bands, because I just love that fiery guitar. And at the time, like I said, growing up with like grunge and stuff, that it didn't really do it for me. So I got into bands like Poison and Motley Crue and Vixen, and I couldn't. And I was a big Gem and the Holograms fan growing up too. And when I discovered Vixen, I was like, oh my God, Gem and the Holograms are real. They're after Vixen, and it blew my mind. And because I thought that was just like this fantasy thing, I didn't really until Vixen. I didn't really know.
I actually got that when we were walking through the airport. The little girl goes, "Mom, it's a Gem doll. My Gem doll come to life."
Yeah, and then I was like, they're real.
There were some gems during the cruise. I don't know if you saw, Gem and the Holograms have been walking around. They've been dressed up throughout the cruise. Yeah.
Outrageous.
Love it. Yeah, so that's how I got started.
All right.
Yes! I love those stories.
Ms. LeBrain.
Okay, well, it's a long story, but so I come from a family of 6 children. My dad was really musical. He used to sit us down and play Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass and like all sorts of really cool records, and he would say, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that?" Like you could hear like little nuances, and he would point them out, and it was so cool. And back in the day, you guys are all everybody on this boat is younger than me, but whatever. But back in the day, on Sundays, the Sunday paper would come out, and there would be albums that you could get for like, you get like 6 for a penny, something like that. Anybody remember that? So he let us choose whatever we wanted.
Columbia House, and we all still owe them.
So we got to choose something. I actually chose The Fifth Dimension. Up and Away was my first album that I ever got. And also my parents, my father originally his family comes from Spain. So I am Castilian, and my given name is La Reina de Rael. People don't really know that because my dad then really Americanized us, and it wasn't cool to be Hispanic when I was growing up. So he changed our last name to Rael. And if you wonder where I got Lewis, it's because that was 4 husbands ago, and I kept his name. Lorraine Lewis is what I go by. But my grandmother, my father's mother, actually used to sing over the radio in Spain, and she was a singer. So it kind of, my dad started singing, and then it kind of got into me. But it was David Lee Roth that I wanted to be when I saw them, their first tour in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I stood on my chair the whole night with my brother next to me, and I was like, this guy is so badass. Comes walking out crotch first, David Lee Roth, and I was just like, I wanted to be him. My sister and my friends, they all wanted to like go to the hotel that they were at, the Hilton, and I didn't want to go. I wanted to be Dave. And so that's really how I got into music. And
I love it. I love it. And you guys come out to Yankee Rose. So there's, it's like Dave is pushing you out there, Lorraine, all these years later.
All these years, and I did meet him. I actually thought we were going to get married and have beautiful rock and roll babies, but that didn't happen. He actually just completely ignored me when I saw him. And so, that's really the truth.
I actually auditioned.
Whatever, Dave.
You auditioned?
I auditioned
David Lee Roth as a
1985.
singer?
Yeah. Well, he was doing
Or for drums?
Eat 'Em and Smile before he did the Eat 'Em and Smile album, and I just about to join Vixen, and I heard that he was auditioning drummers. So, I didn't even care if I got the gig. I just wanted to jam with Steve Vai and Billy Sheehan. So, and I got the audition, and Dave wasn't there, but Billy and Steve were there, and we played a couple of songs off that album, and I was just, okay, I'm done. This is good. I didn't care if I got the gig or not. Greg Bissonette got it. He should have. He's a great drummer, but I have bragging rights.
So cool.
You do. Do you think you were the only woman that was auditioning that day?
As far as I know, yes. And Billy told me I was actually top 5 or top something. Top 6. Yeah, he said I was up there,
Great.
which was good. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Julia and Britt and I, we have worked on something called the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp Women's Only. And it's all women counselors, all women who are the celebrities, like you guys would be a part of it, right? And then all women campers. And it's the first time that had ever been done, right? And there were so many incredible women drummers. I've never seen that many women drummers, and that tends to be the instrument that women pick up the least. One, physical strength, right? I mean, even today, if you talk to Lars from Metallica, he will tell you it's hard for him to keep going. He doesn't know how many more tours Metallica can do, right? And yet, here you are. Remember what I said to you when I walked in? I just looked at this and I was like, you are incredible. You are fit as... And you're so fierce. Tell me about being a woman drummer throughout the years. Not a woman drummer, a drummer. Because that's a really, really hard instrument to play for anyone. And you come along and you smash it.
It wasn't hard. It wasn't a hard instrument. I love playing drums. I love everything about being a drummer. I just sat behind the kit. I took lessons. I played jazz. I played marching band. I did all of it. And of course, when I saw Bill Ward play live, Black Sabbath, I said, I'm going to do that. And he hit hard. And I'd start practicing. I started playing harder, and I had to because my sister's Marshall was on 11, and I couldn't hear myself. So I naturally started playing, and I would play till my hands bled. And I'd have these massive I had man hands, and I was proud of it. But I play it because I feel it. I love it. I just absolutely love it. An hour show for me isn't enough. That's just warming me up. And I miss being on tour for months and months and months. I could live in a tour bus. I mean, it's in my DNA. It's what I love to do and still love it every single minute of it. That's all I've ever done. Yeah. And I'm going to keep going until, you're going to have to pry those sticks out of my dead hands.
Do you know that there's only, to my knowledge, one woman drummer in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Gina Schock from the Go-Go's.
She's a good drummer.
She is a good drummer, and you mentioned Fanny, and talking about the Go-Go's. Tina Weymouth was the first bassist to go in to the Rock Hall, woman bassist. The second was Kathy Valentine, right? How important for you two in the middle was it to see Vixen, to see the Go-Go's, to see Joan Jett, right? Tina Weymouth, because at that rock and roll fantasy camp that Britt runs, by the way, that's how fierce she is. I tell that those women were looking up at Melissa Etheridge, and they were looking up at Nancy Wilson. These were the people that were there. And if you go online and check it out, there will be future ones that you can come to. And there were tears. Like, I didn't think I could do it. Then I saw Melissa Etheridge. I didn't think I could do it. Can you address that a little bit? Like, how important, because you both cited strong men. You know, it's interesting to me because, how could I put this? You do this for love and passion. You do this for money. It's your job. But there's almost a responsibility that the guys don't have, that you have, to getting up there. Do you ever feel that?
No. No, it's true. I'm not
I
gonna
love your
lie.
honesty.
It's true. When I start playing, I didn't think, oh, I'm a woman, I'm fragile, let me break into this crazy world of men. I was like, fuck it, it's music. I love it. It's true. I'm being really honest to you guys right now. I never thought that way. Like, I was like, I can do this. Of course, yeah, whatever, I can do this. So I went there, and surprisingly, that's not a word. Surprisingly enough, all the women there were pretty badasses. They were super stoked. It were just like, sharing information with each other. That's how I felt. And seeing, the Go-Go's girls, or like Nancy. I love Nancy. I'm a Heart fan, big time. Or even Oriente, whatever. It was just like cool. It's just like, okay, cool. Yeah, it's more of us for sure, more women, and it's cool. But really, I never thought about that. And I really hope that people don't have to get caught up in this, because who cares? As long as it's well done and is well performed and you put your heart into, who cares if you're a girl, a guy, or whatever the fuck? That's how I feel.
That's the way it should be.
That's what it should be. But then if the girls, instead of being, oh, I can't do this because, I'm a woman and he's fuck it. Just do your thing. Put passion on it,
I think as a society, we're past that now. Maybe back in the 70s and 80s, yeah, but now
I don't know. In country music, they still don't play two women back to back on the radio. They still don't. I'm going to Nashville on Monday to speak at the country radio seminar, and there's a big revolution happening with women in Nashville right now. It's not happening. And Roxy, the one thing I have to say is, why are there not more women in hard rock? I think you guys have the spirit. I think behind the scenes, it's still really hard. When Amy Mann went to sign up for her label, she started her own label because she could not get a solo deal till Tuesday, because every label that she went to said, we already have a woman on the roster.
Oh, we went through that too.
A woman.
In the 80s. Yeah, no, we did go through that, and I didn't realize that was still happening. We're not actually going for a record deal. I think we have more control by not going to a label and having to depend on them. We're doing this ourselves. We're fully capable, and we can control. We make the decisions. But I don't think about that, about the more women in this. I think if you want to do it and you really want to do it, you go do it, and no obstacle will get in your way.
Yes.
You break down that wall.
Well, let's talk about allies, because you know what I'm psyched about? That you guys are going out on tour with some freaking amazing bands that have said, we want Vixen on our tour. I mean, who wouldn't after seeing you guys the other night? So let's talk about what you have coming up after the cruise.
Where are we going? The band is always the last to know, right?
I think our first gig after this is up in Waterloo, New York, and
Striper, right?
I don't know. We do a lot of shows with Striper. We do a lot with Slaughter, Kicks,
Autograph,
Great guys. Autograph, the guys from Autograph. We got the M3 Festival coming up with a lot of those guys. We do a lot with Skid Row.
We had Brett too last year. We with Brett.
Yeah, we did a couple of shows with Bret Michaels, which was a lot of fun. We're going to be pretty busy this year. We're going to be playing with a lot of bands.
Winger,
yeah. I think we're doing the Wacken Festival in Europe.
Yep.
We're doing some big
That's
festivals.
massive.
That's massive, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to
wait.
that. We're ready. We're more than ready.
Wow, we're ready.
So Sebastian Bach is sort of tangentially related to you, right? because of your first band, Madam X. He's going to be on the 80s Cruise next year. I've interviewed him more than a few times. He is still as wackadoo as always. I love that. I say that with love. Were you already out of Madam X?
I was already out, and my sister has some interesting stories. But he was in it for about a year. He was only about 18 years old. So
18 in life.
Yeah, 18 in life, and he had a ton of entry. He is still that Sebastian Bach from. Yeah. I mean, he's still.
Wow.
Yeah, still that guy. But
so tell us. This is only a few of us here. Can you tell us one story that your sister?
No, I can't.
They're all that bad? One.
He's not here to defend himself.
I wasn't there.
She's saving him for the book.
Well, I think that you should have a book.
Well, he has a book out. And there's a story in the book, but it's his version. I like Sebastian. I like Sebastian. When I see him, we're totally cool, and so it's rock and roll. I'll leave it at that.
So, in terms of rock bands that are out today, who are you listening to? Because I interviewed The Edge from U2 a few weeks ago, and he said he's very excited because there's a resurgence in rock. And I think right after the pandemic, we saw bedroom pop, because honestly, people couldn't get together, so you couldn't have 4 people jamming in a room, which is what you guys do. But now we're coming away from that. People are like, oh, I miss being with people again. Are you watching this resurgence in rock, and is it getting you excited?
There's a lot of new bands that I really like, and I mean, rock and roll is alive and well. Rock and roll will never die. There's a band out of Italy that I really like. I was watching the Eurovision Songwriting Contest. I guess it was 2022, maybe 2021. I don't know if you've seen the movie, the Eurovision song. Like, it's hilarious, and that's what inspired me to watch this actual television contest. Anyway, there was a band from Italy called Måneskin. Holy fuck. They are the real deal. They're so badass. They're so rock and roll. Girl bass player, not that we're counting boys or girls, whatever, but she's so rad. They're so amazing. Vocals are killer. The songs are killer. If you get a chance, check out Måneskin. They're amazing. They're touring the world. They opened up for the Stones. They are the real deal. Not dialing it in at all. They're really hella cool. So, one of my faves.
I love Måneskin.
Yeah.
And I love their bassist. She goes out there with the little star pasties on.
Yes.
Freaks people out. I love it.
Yes. I saw them live on Sunset Strip. They played at the Roxy in September of 2022. It was rad. Woo! It was so rad. So great. Yeah. Crowd surfing, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roxy, speaking of the Roxy, what is your favorite gig you've ever played? You've played some amazing ones over the years.
I would say, I have to say, the one that sticks in my head is our first arena show with the Scorpions. This was in Europe. I remember I was behind stage and I could hear the crowd. You could just hear, it was just a sea of people, and I didn't think they'd show up for us. I thought, we'll have some people trickling in. And I looked behind the curtain, and Jan was actually standing behind, and we both looked, and I went, oh my God, I gotta go to the bathroom. I wasn't prepared, but I thought I was. And I just remember that show, and I remember playing everything way too fast because I was so nervous. So we were like Motorhead. But it was great because backstage, the Scorpions had flowers and champagne for us, and they said, welcome to the big show. And we went, and that just set the tone for the tour. And it was amazing.
That is classy.
It was amazing. Yeah.
I love that they did that for you.
Oh, me too.
Such class. So early on, I mean, your legacy song was co-written by Richard Marx and Fee Waybill, who from the Tubes, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. We actually had Richard Marks on my show Feedback on SiriusXM, and we talked to him about this. Thank you. We talked to him about this, and he loves that chapter in his history. He just thinks it's so great. Can you talk about that? Like how you came, was the song served up on a platter to you, or was it one of these that like you got to meet Richard and work with him? How'd that song come about?
He was managed by their same manager as us, Alan Kovac. And we had just recorded, we thought we recorded the whole album, we thought we were done. And the record company said, no, you need one more song. You need that smash hit. You don't have it yet. So Alan had Richard come see us play. And we were playing at MIT, and Richard was in the crowd, and he watched us. He loved the band. He loved Janet's voice. And the riff for Edge came to his head. So he said, let's get into a rehearsal, and we're going to hammer this out. So we went into rehearsal with him, and he started the, and then I just started playing the drum beat, and it just came together organically, and it was a perfect song for Vixen. We all felt it. It became our signature sound. So he knew instinctively. He kind of felt us all out, you know. Well, not that way. And he was great to work with because he's a musician. So he understands how when you're in the studio and you're recording, you feel naked. You know, you have these producers watching you behind the glass, and if they don't jump up and down when you're and get excited, you think you suck because you play, and then they just look at you. And for me anyway, and I'm like, oh God, that wasn't good. But Richard he had so much energy, and he just knew how to make us feel confident. He got the best performance out of us, and that song just turned out to be magical for us. I love playing that song even today. It's one of my favorites. Edge of a Broken Heart, one of my favorites.
Do you run into Richard? Have you run into him over the years?
No, but on social media we'll go back and forth. And in fact, I would say, do you have an Edge of a Broken Heart number 2? We'll consider that. She's a great writer, and the lyrics, you know, Pete Wabel wrote the lyrics, and it's just perfect. I love it.
So you mentioned Jan a few times, and I want to give her flowers because she's a founder along with you, and this is 10 years now this year since
she passed away.
She passed away due to cancer at the age of 51, which is just incredible to me. She had been struggling with cancer for a while.
No, actually, what happened was she didn't know she had it. She thought and it was ovarian cancer. She thought she had some stomach thing, right? And we were just going to reunite and start touring again as the original members. We hadn't told anybody. And so we were getting everything in place with our agent and everything, and talking about songs and how we were going to put the set together. And, you know, we all live in different states, so we were doing it by phone and email. And then she says, okay, I just have to, you know, go to the doctor and get this things taken care of. And then before we knew it, she said, you know, it's worse than I thought. I have cancer. And we said, okay, you're going to beat this. And she was a fighter. And she says, oh yeah, I'm going to beat this. And she would go hiking, and, you know, months went by. We thought, okay, she's getting better. Sounds like she's getting better. Everything is good. And then we got the phone call. Not maybe a couple weeks later, Jan passed away. That quick. So I don't know if she knew how long she had it, but it seemed pretty quick. Yeah, it was terrible. It was devastating. We all love Jan. Yes.
Yes. Do you think of Jan sometimes when you're out on the stage?
Always. Any decisions that I make for this band, I always think of her. What would Jan do? Would she be okay with this? Because it's her baby. You know, I'm here because of her. We're all here.
You're keeping it alive too. Like you
the legacy of Vixen.
Reunite, and you still decided to go forward.
Yes.
Was that also because you knew she would have wanted that?
Yes, because and when she had her version of Vixen at one point with all different women. So when this all happened, and Janet and Sharon and I sat down and we talked to her family, we talked to the fans basically, and said, do you want us to continue? We wanted to get a vibe, but we wanted to. We just wanted to make sure, and says, yeah, that's the right thing to do. You gotta honor Jan and her legacy, because if we don't, the band dies with Jan. And it's like, no. She worked too hard. She wanted this band she wanted Vixen around forever. So I feel a responsibility to keep that Vixen. Yeah, I need to keep it alive. And with these girls, we respect the past. I'm trying to keep it as close to the past as possible, but they bring a whole new energy to the band. Yeah. And every girl you see here deserves to be here.
There's that word again, responsibility, and I know that it's a loaded word, but I have to think, Britt and Julia and LeBrain, when you're asked to join Vixen, when I see, let me just say, when I see I'm coming to the 80s cruise and Vixen is there, there's a little flutter inside of me. Like, I feel like we have something in common, like we're coming to do this, you know what I mean? And I'm proud. I'm proud of you guys, you know, you girls. When you know, can you speak to that a little bit? The idea that you are a member of Vixen and what that means to you. Britt.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's a complete honor, and Jan is big shoes to fill. So, and I'm super grateful to all the fans that have been so, you know, they've received us all so well, and it's an honor. Every time we walk on stage, I get, you know, the chills. It's not just like something that I take lightly. And to play with Roxy and Lorraine and Julia, I mean, it's an honor. Absolutely. I couldn't wish for anything more. Very happy to be here.
It's really the best life ever, honestly. And we're like, it's a big, massive slumber party. Like, we all love each other. We have each other's backs. We have a great time together. There is nobody else that I would rather be on stage with than these girls up here. Like, they're badasses for sure.
Lorraine and I have history. We actually worked together in 2004, 5, 6.
I think it was somewhere in there, 2005, yes.
We had a little project on the side, and we worked with Jeff Young from Megadeth, and it was a band that she wanted to call Super Pussy, and I said, no way am I going to be in a band called Super Pussy.
But yeah, we settled on, we met halfway.
Yeah, I said, how about Rocktopus? That sounds like
Rocktopus, that's what it was called. We released 2 sides, we recorded with Michael Wagner, but yeah, Roxy and I go way back. Like, we've known each other a long time.
When you come out on that stage, Lorraine, it just blows up. You have a smile, you have this energy, right?
She owns it. She comes out and she owns it. I love that.
I want David Lee Roth to see that. Because you channel him. You channel him.
I want him to be right in the front row. I just want to come out and see what he helped create. But yeah, I live for the stage. I mean, you know, real life is actually a little challenging for me. It feels kind of awkward. But stage is my home. I love being on stage. Yeah.
How do you feel about David Lee retiring? I'm sad, but he's earned it. I always say that when rock stars get to a point that they are taking a break or they're going to retire, I'm like, imagine having the same job, Roxy, since you were 17 or 18, with the same people, it's tough.
Did you say he's retiring?
David Lee, yeah.
Yeah, he's not retiring.
No way. There's no way. There's no way.
Do they ever retire? No.
Thank God.
We're retired. It's part of us. It's just like, you know, it's our like hobby that became a job, but it's on us. It's still there.
It's true. Well, we have a few minutes left, and I want to get to some Vixen fans out here. Who wants to come up and ask a question? All right. Come on over here.
Blake in the house.
The first album, Desperate. Now that had Viv on it, right? Playing guitar? Vivian Campbell.
Yes.
How did that come about? Was that a label thing when he came in? Or do you have any stories about that recording?
That was a label thing. That was a label thing when they said, let's have a duet. Microphone. Oh, I'm a drummer. Talk in the mic. I slam the skins. That's what I do. Yeah.
Rock me.
Yeah.
Rock me.
Hi, Vixen. You all rock. So this is a question, and I actually asked Autograph the same question, and they named you and Slaughter as their favorite band they've ever toured with. So that was pretty impressive. But I want to know, this might be a little more Julia and Britt love you, but only because Roxy and Lorraine have
We get it, don't worry.
longer. I just want to know what's your favorite. So besides the recent bands that you're touring with, who was your favorite band you've ever toured with? And if you don't mind me putting you in a spot, who was your least favorite?
Thank God we don't have to answer that, Brit.
You go first.
Scorpions, Ozzy, Deep Purple, my favorites.
Holy shit. That's a good list. Well, I love touring with Cheap Trick. That was amazing. And Robin gave me some really great pointers when I toured with them. He let me use his monitor system after the first night, which was hella cool. That was great. And I also learned during the day, he doesn't talk during the day. He doesn't say a word, which is really hard for me. And so, but I learned that. And so when we've got a lot of dates, I do my best not to talk during the day, and the girls, will talk to everybody for me, because he really saves his voice. And that's how, it was the Flame Tour is when I toured with them. And, he'd hit those high notes in the Flame, like every flipping night he could hit those things. So, he's doing it right. So I learned a lot from Robin. Yeah.
Love that. Anybody else? Come on.
I love asking everybody this question. So what is the first band you ever saw in concert and what year?
Black Sabbath for me. That was late 70s. I was just a little, kid.
I think for me it was the Rolling Stones.
Which is Elvis. Elvis was my first concert. My parents brought me to that. So, yeah.
So maybe cool. I don't recall the year. It was maybe 90s. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, mine was actually Stone Temple Pilots, and I had to sneak out, and I lied, and I said I was sleeping at a friend's house because I wasn't allowed to go because there was no chaperone.
Mama. That's amazing. You have the best stories. Seriously. My first concert was David Bowie, and it was War that opened up for him. Crazy, right? Yeah, it was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Crazy billing.
See, this
It was
is why
epic.
you became who you became, because you went to these shows. I'm a relatively new mom. I'm coming up on a year since I adopted my son, and I think about 2020. I started fostering him 2 weeks before the cruise. My husband stayed home with him when we came on that sailing to the end of the world. I'm like, honey, please stock up on toilet paper. But I think a lot about music, and I think about how, he's a biracial child, and I think about how I want to make sure that he has this big stew of yummy, amazing music to listen to.
Bring him to a Vixen show.
Absolutely. Because I believe music makes us who we are. And have you noticed that every single person on this cruise is amazing and nice and kind? No dicks or assholes? And I use those words loosely, I know, but I think it's because of music. I think it's because we respect each other's music. My girlfriend who came on the cruise with me this time, she said, it's like, the metal people are hanging with the glam rock people, are hanging with the new wave people, are hanging with the, the funk people, and it's true.
Music is a unifier. It brings everybody together. It does. It's wonderful.
Respect. There's I love what you do, you love, and that's what I love about this cruise so much. so much. Anybody else? Any other questions? Dun, 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 dun.
Great show, guys. Just loved it. I asked this question to Autograph because OMD was on the ship, our first concert, and they have this song, and then it was Flock of Seagulls, and it's almost like he didn't want to play the song. You have the song, everybody knows but your whole set was great, and I was thinking, how do you feel about Roxy? I mean, you've been playing it for years. You already said you loved it, but what song on the playlist, when you see it, and I did see the playlist on the floor with LeBrain you were looking at, what song gets you excited? Like, I'm going to get to play this song tonight.
For me, literally, I get excited with every song we play. I'm not lying, it's not a joke. I look at them, they're always so energetic, bringing full-on 1,000 in like this, and I'm like, yes! Like, she looks at us, are you guys ready? We're like, yes. Yeah, I'm already having a blast. So honestly, I don't know, but Edge for sure is a kick-ass song, I mean, because everybody's expecting for that moment. And when we play there, it's just like get chills every time. So, I mean, I love you guys.
We want to know your favorite song. We could add it to the set.
It's gone.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It feels like one big song when we get up there because we just roll into the next. You don't even really think. I don't think about anything when we're on stage, and it goes by in like a 30-second time frame, even though we're up there for a while. And it's just into the next. But I like playing How Much Love a lot. I think that's a fun groove. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I agree. I love them all. Like, it's just like, it's go time. We run out on stage. We give it our all. We have the best time on stage together. We high five. We hope it's contagious. Whenever we're up there, whatever we're doing, we hope that you guys are getting the vibe and just digging it as much as we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just have one question, mainly about vocals. Instruments, you can tune them and they're there. But for vocalists, getting prepared, getting tuned up, getting warmed up, staying consistent, hitting the high notes all the time, it's all in here. It's all in your throat. So what do you do to prepare on a daily basis for?
I do a lot of things, and number one is to try not to yell a lot. Like, so if I'm gonna talk to Roxy, I'm gonna walk over to Roxy. Hey Roxy, I walk over, take a lot of time walking around talking to people. I do my best not to yell a lot, but I do get excited, so that's kind of hard to contain. And then I do a lot of vocal warm-ups. Whenever we're getting ready to go out on tour, I walk in the neighborhood. I'm newly living in Palm Springs, and I walk in the neighborhood with my headset on, and I do vocal riffs and runs for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And I walk in the neighborhood, and when I first moved to the neighborhood, everybody's coming outside like checking me out, like, who the fuck is this crazy chick? What is she doing? And now they all know kind of what I do. They think I sing in a choir, like a church choir. Perfect. And so they wave, and the moms come out with their kids, and there's dogs, and it's, everybody's really friendly. But I do that every day when I'm getting ready to go out on tour.
That's funny, LeBrain. I do the same thing when I warm up vocally.
Right? And yeah, I have to, because I'm not, I just go, like, I'm not a vocalist, like, I probably wouldn't be like a vocalist that would be on American Idol, necessarily. I'm all gut, heart, and soul, and so I just go. Like, I've got two speeds. It's like, no, and go. Like, that's it for me. So I just do my best to prepare. I did get over some really freaky thing, though, over the last few months of the year. I actually had mold growing in my air conditioner, and I did not know this, and I actually had fungus growing in my lungs for about a few weeks, and I had to be on medication, and it was really, really scary, but it is all gone and done. But that was pretty freaky. But yeah, I do all the things. There's a lot of things that you can do with a little bit of water in a cup with a straw and blow bubbles and all sorts of stuff. So, are you a vocalist?
Not really, but my wife is, but...
You know what? You guys should hit me up on Instagram. Lorraine Lewis Rocks. Hit me up. I'll give you... I'll give you some tips because I do not hold my cards to my chest. I share with the world whatever you want to know, whatever you want to ask me. I am an open book.
So on the day of a show, do you separate yourself and go into a room and just vocalize?
I do that before I come out. Before I'm like, we're all in our rooms, and I'll be doing that, and Julie does the same thing. And we just kind of get prepared before we come out, and then I do my best to, I high five and hug, but I don't
Well, you have that app. She has an app that she writes stuff and it gets this big.
I do.
And then she talks to the app. We're like looking at her. She's right here, and then she's typing the app.
Yeah, even the sound man, I'll walk up with what I want in my mix, because we're not going to talk, I'm just going to show you. Even on the plane, it's like, I want a Bloody Mary, and I do this. I don't talk, I use my app. It is called Big, B-I-G, look it up, and it makes everything really bold letters, so you can just communicate that way.
That's the app.
Yeah, it's really cool, B-I-G.
That's LeBrain all day long.
Good question.
Hi. I guess I'm one of those new fans that you mentioned, and maybe my question, nobody asked it because it's common knowledge? I don't know, but I was kind of curious, how did the three of you end up in this band, or how did you find this current amazing lineup?
Okay, so Britt, she came highly recommended, and at the time Cher was still in the band, and she and I did our research, we watched her in the videos, and we both went. So we flew her down to Florida where we were rehearsing. Her and Tyson, actually our keyboard player, and she just nailed it. And we said, yep, she got a good voice, she looks great, she's playing great, she felt the music, and yeah, she worked great. And then Julia, actually my manager recommended, he said, you gotta check this girl Julia out, a bass, when Cher stepped back. And so I did. I put a lot of thought into choosing these members because it just is very important. And Julia, I checked a couple other bass players too before her, and then I'd go back to Julia, and then I checked out a couple more, and I kept going back to Julia, going, there's something about this girl, and she had a ton of energy, and she's an amazing bass player. And as soon as we played together, she locked right in with me. So we're the balls of the band, and that bass and drums got to be there.
It was the same with me when they were like, oh, Vixen. I'm like, oh, I have to check them out again. And then, because I knew them, but so I checked you first for sure, because I knew Brie for a long time. And I was like, oh, fuck, man, come on, I want to be there. And then the minute I played the song with you, we played 3 songs together, I was like, oh, that's it.
It worked. And Brittany actually she mentioned Julia too to me. She says, yeah, I know Julia. Julie's great. And I said, great, good. Because
Julia and I had actually played in recorded an album together before and stuff, so we
worked with this Mexican artist before me and her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was random that, but
so it's kind of meant to be, some things just go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Yum.
Great minds.
And LeBrain, you guys know each other for...
LeBrain, yes. How could I forget LeBrain?
LeBrain's staring at you.
She was the first. No, she was the second. You were first. Janet had a medical emergency, and we had a show to do. And Cher and I thought, oh, well, who could sit in and do this show? And then we both went, Lorraine Lewis. We both have worked with her in the past, and she did the show on short notice. And she just came out like a ball of fire and nailed all the Vixen songs. And like I said, she didn't have a lot of time to learn them either. Did we throw in Waiting for the Big One for that show?
We did.
Yeah, we did a Femme Fatale song too for her.
Thank you.
But you know what? It felt great playing that song too. And we're like, wow, we both kind of looked at each other backstage and went, she's really good and she really fits in. And Janet chose to go solo anyway, and Lorraine was the first call we made.
Yay!
We never looked back.
And I was so honored and so grateful and so happy to get that call, dude. I was so happy. I was so excited. I was just, I was really ready to go because I've been working on these songs forever, waiting for that call. No, but... but no, honestly, if you would have said 34 years ago that we would be in the same band together and I would be a part of Vixen, I would never have believed you. But that's the thing with life. Here I go. I'm gonna get philosophical. Philosophy. The thing with life, and I've been on the planet a long time, you never know what is around the corner. You never know what is next. It is never over. It is never over. You are
That's why
never
you never
done.
say never, because you just never.
You never know, and you are never done. We are never too old or too young or too male or too female. We just go. Like, life is fucking amazing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Preach it, Lorraine, preach it.
Agree, completely. And to have you guys here on this cruise brought a special flavor. I am so appreciative that you are here, that we got to hear you, and I got to talk to you, and you guys got to know Vixen.